thumbnail design. What is the actual science behind designing thumbnails that have a high click-through rate percentage? 7, 8, 9, 10% consistently. What is the actual psychology behind the click? How can you design like those effective thumbnails every single time that you post a video so that your videos get more views, you attract more inbound clients, and even more than that, you attract the specific attention from your target market? In this video, this is exactly what we're going to be diving into. To provide a little bit of context, all of the insights and lessons that we'll be sharing in this video just come from our experience over the last 3 years. At this point, our team at Hex Studio have probably posted over 1,000 YouTube long-form videos. We definitely have learned maybe a thing or two that could help you out as well, right? I'm not saying that this is the only way that you can go about designing effective thumbnails, but I am saying that there are certain parameters that we follow internally that have worked really well for us and our clients as well. So anyway, having said that, let's get started. In this video, we will be reviewing the exact thumbnail handbook that we have written. In case that you might be interested in the whole written document, you'll find some bonuses in there that we'll be not discussing in this video. So I invite you to go ahead to the description and download it if you want it in a written format. It's going to be very valuable. But besides that, here's actually the table of content that we will be reviewing in this video. So first thing, module 1 is the psychology behind great thumbnails. Module 2 is going to be minor mistakes, major consequences when it comes to thumbnail designs. Module 3 is going to be the rebirth of your YouTube channel. Module 4, the silent partner of thumbnails. And Module 5, that is a secret bonus. You'll be reviewing this in the written document that you can get access again in the description. So let's get started. So for the first module, the psychology behind great thumbnails. What makes great thumbnails great? In my opinion, to replicate thumbnails that have those high CTRs, the 9, the 10% CTRs on the videos, we first need to understand how our viewers think and our target audience, the type of target audience that we are trying to attract to our videos, thinks before taking the actual decision on clicking our video or just scrolling away, right? So let's break down their thought process. Step 1, the viewer stops to look at your video, like the thumbnail and title, because something catches their eye, catches their attention. Step 2, the viewer evaluates whether he or she is going to receive what they want at that particular moment from your video. If the promise that you are making with that thumbnail and title, they are going to be receiving it with the video, right? Step 3, the viewer looks over the other suggested videos on YouTube next to ours. Step 4, the viewer evaluates all of those other videos under the same criteria that they evaluate our video very fast. Instantaneously, they evaluate all of the other videos that YouTube is suggested to them at that particular moment. And step 5, the viewer decides to either click on our video, because of our thumbnail, our title, to click on another of the videos that YouTube is suggested to that person in that moment, or just keep scrolling, right? This is basically the whole thought process of someone when they decide whether on clicking on our video or not. And this thought process is going to be extremely important for us to determine how are we going to be designing our thumbnails based on this thought process, based on the actual psychology behind the click. Now, having in mind the thought process that we just explained, what type of approach we should take for designing our thumbnails. Here's our personal recommendation for this. For our thumbnail designs, the North Star will be, first, catch the viewer side. This sounds very simple, so ideally try to use colors that are vivid or images that are big and that actually stand out from all of the other thumbnails so that you immediately catches the attention from that audience that you are trying to attract. Second step, make sure that the thumbnail design and the way that it integrates with the whole title, the video idea, the thumbnail, the actual design generates a strong emotional response. And the third thing to have in mind that is extremely important is that your thumbnail can catch the attention of someone. Your thumbnail can generate a strong emotional response. But besides that, we also need to consider a third factor, and is that those two things together need to offer the rest of the thumbnails with which your video is going to be competing on, right? Because remember, YouTube suggests one of your videos, but it is also suggesting to that same viewer multiple other videos. So we are always competing for the attention of that end user, of that target market that we are trying to attract. Now, moving away from this will actually create a few questions for us together. So first, what powerful emotional response could I aim to create with my thumbnails? That could be one question that you may have right now. And the second thing is like, what does this actually looks like in practice, right? We will be addressing both of these in the video, so stay tuned. So first, some of the strongest emotional responses that you could probably be optimizing towards include amusement, excitement, sadness, fear, compassion, rage. So if you can create a sense of any of these emotional responses through the way that you design the thumbnail, the concept behind the video, the title, like the actual video idea, you'll be doing already a great job. Now, moving away from that, how does this actually looks like in practice? As you can see on the screen right now, we have put together a few examples of thumbnails that implement all of these concepts that we have been discussing up until now. This is a first example. This is another example from Jordan Welch. This is a third example from Leon Hendricks. So that's pretty much it for Model 1. Now, Model 2. Minor mistakes, major consequences. These practices are killing your thumbnail's performance. So stay tuned because this is going to be extremely important. I understand you're a business owner, not a content creator. You probably don't have time to just go really hard on like the thumbnail design and all of that, right? But even though I personally praise practicality and speed over perfection, on YouTube, if you really want to get great results, thumbnail design is not something that we could just wing. It's a very important piece of the whole like YouTube marketing strategy, a very important part of the puzzle. So let's actually break down a few of these minor mistakes that I see happening over and over again in the industry, in multiple YouTube channels, and that probably you might be doing right now, so that you know that you need to solve them right now, right? So a few of these mistakes. And by the way, a parenthesis again, full disclaimer, I'm not saying that this is the only way that you can follow and the only process that you can follow to design effective thumbnails. I am just saying that these are the things that have worked for us personally, right? So moving away from that, what are like some of those minor mistakes? First of all, not adding a person's photo. Second of all, adding maybe a person's photo on the thumbnail that doesn't focus on the face, but rather like the whole upper body or the whole body, right? The third minor mistake is that the text on the thumbnail basically repeats what is written on the same title. The minor mistake number 4 is that there's like low contrast colors between maybe the thumbnail design that you are doing and the text that you added, like the thumbnail design background and the text that you added to that thumbnail. The number 5 is that the background design is too busy and hard like to digest for the viewers. It's basically over designed, right? Or it just has like an over saturation of elements. Minor mistake number 6 is that there's too much text on the thumbnail and maybe it's too small. Number 7 is that there's not like an interesting idea behind the thumbnail design that triggers any emotional reaction, right? And the number 8, I'll be revealing in a little bit, but let's actually go one by one because it's going to be extremely important. So, not adding a person's photo. Why do I say that this is a mistake? Usually we have seen that just thumbnails that include like a photo of someone tend to outperform thumbnails that don't, right? At the end of the day, you connect with people. That's what creates like that connection. We are also kind of drawn into what is familiar to us. So seeing the photo of a face of someone immediately gets us to watch that video, look at that video, or see that thumbnail in particular. Mistake number 2, adding a person's photo that doesn't focus on the face, but rather the whole upper body. Back to my previous point, if our attention is drawn into what is familiar to us, let's just focus directly on the main factor to drive that attention, right? That will be your face, not like your whole body, your whole upper body, especially because most people are going to be consuming the content of YouTube via mobile. So if you put like the whole photo of yourself and you put it in the thumbnail design and someone is scrolling like in his phone, is not going to be able to see like that clear picture as they will if they were on their laptop, right? So rather you just focus directly on the face. Besides that, text on thumbnail that repeats what is written on the video, on the title of the video. Here, the best way to think about this is that all of the space that you have, like the title and the thumbnail, is valuable real estate that you can basically use to attract the attention from your target audience. For that reason, it's extremely important that we maximize every single space that we have. Now, if you put a title, and in that title, like the promise is not big enough for your viewer to actually click on the video, and you complement like with another short title in the thumbnail that is kind of similar to the video idea, but put like in another angle that is compelling, you win the click. But if you're just repeating the same text on the title that wasn't strong enough for someone to click and you put it again on the thumbnail, basically you lost the click. You lost the opportunity to use that space that you had within the thumbnail to try another text, to try another angle to entice that person to actually click on the video. Moving away from that, another mistake that I see that is common is basically low contrast colors between thumbnail text and the background. You already know most users are going to be consuming the YouTube content via mobile, so everything needs to be super readable, super easy for them to immediately digest it, to take the decision if they want to click on our video or just ignore it. Besides that, background design that is too busy and hard to digest for the viewers. Maybe there's like oversaturation of elements. Another mistake is that sometimes there's too much text on the thumbnail and that text is too small. Besides that is that certain thumbnails lack like an actual big idea, like a big promise behind why should someone be clicking on your video, right? Every time that we click on a video is because unconsciously we are thinking that we are going to be receiving something out of the video. So it needs to have like that factor of a big promise, a big idea behind that specific design, that specific thumbnail, to win as much clicks as possible from your audience, your viewers, the type of people that you want to attract. Another common mistake is basically repeating the structure, colors, or photos of you in multiple of the thumbnail designs for different videos. I especially see this for people that kind of actually like brand their YouTube channels. This is not a practice that I'll personally recommend. Of course, there are here and there a few things that you could do to give a feel to your audience that this is your specific style, but just literally copying the same colors every time, the same photo of you every time, and the same like structure of elements as if it were like a cover of an album or something else of a podcast, that doesn't tend to work really well on YouTube. So basically these are some of the most common mistakes that I have noticed for the thumbnail designs. That is that of course you can avoid them so that we can optimize our thumbnails for high click rates and getting as much clicks as possible for every single impression that we get by YouTube, right? That's ultimately the goal. Now, moving away from that, the model number 3, the rebirth of your YouTube channel. There's like, I totally understand. All of these concepts that we are talking about, this makes sense. I know that these are valuable, but sometimes what happens is that we get kind of like paralysis by overanalysis, right? There's too much information that we are learning, and it's like, hey, now how can I actually go and implement this? For that reason, the module 3, and this is something that you'll find if you go ahead and download like this written document, you'll have access to an exclusive checklist with specific questions and specific steps that you can take or pass like to your graphic designer every time that you are designing a thumbnail, so that you know that if it like kind of passes all of the check marks of that checklist, you can be sure that that thumbnail is optimized as much as you can from your side of things before you actually posting the video to get a good CTR percentage. Of course, all about testing, but this just increases your chances of actually getting a good performing thumbnail, right? Besides this, the module number 4, the silent partner of thumbnails. Ignoring this silent partner is tanking your growth. This is something extremely important as well. It's kind of like, in my opinion, one of those complementary type of elements that have a direct impact on your CTR percentage, but a lot of people seem to kind of ignore it or forget about it, right? When measuring the success of that KPI, of that specific metric as the click-through rate percentage on their channel. So we are going to dive deep into what are certain of these things, what are some of those silent partners. Firstly, what are some of these things that actually influence the CTR percentage besides the thumbnail? Short answer is that every single element that a viewer can see before clicking on your video is influencing in certain way their decision-making process for clicking on that video or ignoring it. So, what are some of those things that people can see before watching or clicking in your actual video? First, the thumbnail, of course. Second is the title of the video. Third one is the first line of the description. So your first line of the description of your YouTube video. If they are, for example, searching for a specific search term or phrase, if they like search for something and your video pops up, you're going to be able to read like that first line of the description of your video. So that's something that you need to take into consideration. The other thing is the name of your YouTube channel. Viewers can see the name of your YouTube channel before clicking on the video. And the number 5 is the video length as well. You may be surprised about hearing this, but actually like that timestamp, the video length, sometimes is an important influencer into the decision of someone to click on the video or not doing it. So these are a few of the factors that we should probably consider. Now, we're going to be getting into specifically the title. Because from all of these factors behind the thumbnail, the second most important influencer in the decision-making process on winning the click, besides the thumbnail, is the title of the video. In this document that I'm telling you about, the YouTube Thumbnail Secrets Handbook that we have written, we actually got into specifically our approach for creating titles. After that, we have actually kind of like a swipe file of good performing thumbnails. We actually have like the breakdown and analysis of multiple very successful thumbnails from like the biggest creators in the world. And we also have a few bonuses, so yeah, I think this is a perfect point to stop the video. I really encourage you to go ahead and download this handbook. I think that is going to be extremely valuable for you. And having said that, I truly hope that this video was valuable for you as well. I invite you to, in the next 3 seconds, I'll recommend a video to you regarding YouTube marketing as well. I invite you to go ahead and check it out. I think it will be valuable. Please subscribe if you like this video. And having said that, I will see you on the next video. So yeah, bye-bye. Take care.